Good Friday. It's Freya Day today, which makes it Venus Day as well. For Freya Day is also Vendredi, which is Venus's day. It's also Kinyobi. Yatta, Kinyobi da. For Japanese viewers, we've got very little to do with metal or money. Well, actually, money will come into it a little bit, but it's mainly going to be focused around the divine feminine, as I find that is what I link to the number 5, which is what I see today as. Today is the 5th day of the week from Sunday, Venus being the 5-letter word, the representation of the divine feminine. You get men are from Mars, women are from Venus. So I'm going to do this show today all about Venus, all about the number 5, all about the divine feminine. And I'm going to be setting up just in this little beginning section to try and make sure that I've got something here, because people have been trying to talk to me on the chat, but the chats haven't been coming through for some reason. So I'm going to do my best to try and keep up with it today. I've got this my tablet open on the same page, so if I periodically refresh it, hopefully that will help for any messages coming through. If there's any questions you have, I'll also do my best to get to those. But yeah, everything is going to be based around Venus and the divine feminine. So you've got the picture that I used for the icon of the live stream is Venus's pattern through the sky. In a course of 5 years, I think it is, there is this beautiful flower pattern that is being made. And you'll notice it has 5 points on the pattern, which makes a perfect 5-pointed star, which is pretty good, because you also have, if I can get the whiteboard up, let's see, I could use blue, I suppose. Blue is a nice color for Venus. My partner's turtle is almost completely rubbed off now. I have got a picture saved. So for now, goodbye, turtle. And hello, 5-pointed star, which is the star that's a very bad drawing of it. It's the star that you would get from the 5 points of Venus. Now, this star is often linked with people believing it's some kind of devil worship, or it's the star of Lucifer. But interestingly enough, Lucifer morning star, is the old Roman name for Venus. So this is not something that is devil worship, but I will get to one of the reasons. Hey Siddiqui, how's it going? Afwan Ellen. I always confuse. You're welcome with hello, and my Arabic is not so great, but it's great to have you here with us. So yeah, this is going to be all about Venus today, as it's Good Friday, and Venus's day is Friday. I find that Good Friday is the best Friday of the year. So this would be the perfect moment. Alan, I will do my best. Still very, very basic in my language studies, but I do love languages, love many languages. So yeah, the 5-pointed star is something that is associated with Venus due to the pattern that is made throughout the year, or throughout the period of 5 years. Everything to do with the number 5, I feel, has a very feminine edge to it. So you've got 5 senses in your body, and of your 5 senses, each of the senses have 5 letters. So you've got sight, you've got sound, you've got touch, you've got taste, you've got smell, and even the word sense has 5 letters. So all of these seem to encapsulate the feeling, the experience. Hey, an ordinary penguin, it's great to have you with us. Yeah, today I'm going to be talking a lot about Venus. It's a good day for discussing our divine feminine, as the day definitely has that energy. As Partywise the Clown saying hello. Hey, Partywise, you're more than welcome to join us. It's great to have you with us. Yeah, Ordinary Penguin, this stream is about Venus. This is about the divine feminine. It's the energy that I feel is returning into the world at the moment. There is a lot of people have been getting upset recently about a Supreme Court decision that was made in Britain, and it defines that women are classified as women if they are biological women from birth, which it's just like a very nonsense kind of what would you call it? It's something that should be common sense. It's something that should be of our senses. But this is something that was made a legislation recently. And I do think that there's loads of people that are angry about it. There's loads of people that are celebrating it. I don't feel either way on the, to me, it's kind of, it's nice that things aren't sliding any further away. I'm not actually, I'm not being anti-trans here. I've got trans friends that have had wonderful lives when they've made their transitions, and I'm a you do you kind of person. But when it comes down to trying to redefine reality, I'm standing with truth. And I think that there is a fine line between standing with truth and living your best life. So that's where I stand on the matter. I find that the ruling was brilliant. It was done by 5 Supreme Court judges, and they were standing up for the rights of the feminine. The women were being protected. So it's the divine feminine. Oh, one sec. Um, Facts. So true, love 33. An ordinary penguin saying, I've just started seeing you, but you are so kind and your personality is just lovely. I do appreciate you. Thank you. And on a very much a turnaround from earlier stage of my life, unrecognizable from even just 5 years ago. And a lot of that I owe down to being able to welcome the feminine side back into my life. I find that in this world, we get pushed towards the masculine side a lot. Everything kind of gets pushed into the left brain. You've got the feminine brain is the right brain, the masculine brain is the left brain. The feminine brain guides the subconscious, the masculine brain guides the conscious. So this is where you get like a lot of people that think with just a conscious brain, they're unaware of all of these other things that you can only really understand when you feel them, when you use your senses. And when you come back to your senses, that's usually when you start to feel the woman's touch again. Ah, well, you're welcome to come back anytime, Ordinary Penguin. We're more than happy to have you here. Yeah, there's the general feeling of the woman's touch is something that makes a home. So the home is usually seen as a woman's domain. The woman is what makes the home. The man can make a functional home out of a cave, but the woman can give the woman's touch, which makes it more comforting and makes it more homely. The woman is usually seen as the second as well. You have the masculine that came first and the woman that came second, in terms of Adam was created before Eve, and then Eve was made out of the ribonucleic acid. And you have the 1 and 2, the odd and even, odd for oddum and eve for even, or even, like the links are there. So you've got the balance between, I've got a very rubbed off version of this. I'm not sure if you can still see it on there. Yeah, it's taken a bit of damage since, but you've got the clock that I call it, the zodiac wheel. That's you've got the 2 opposing sides. So you start with Aries, and then you've got Libra over the other side. And Aries is ruled by Mars, and Libra is ruled by Venus. So that's the men are from Mars, women are from Venus. And there's even a bit of a link with Eve and Libra being quite similar. Libra has 5 letters as well, so it fits into the nice 5 theme that Venus gives us. I find that wherever you see the number 5, you do tend to see a lot of respect for the women. Like this is something that you see in Islam, which is 5 letters. They have 5 pillars of Islam. One of them is to pray 5 times a day. And women, even though you would look at a lot of things that go on around the world in which a lot of women are not being respected, you get a lot of places where Islam is practiced properly, women get nothing but respect. There's people that are blind followers that are going by usually a man's rules, and he'll do his best to convince people through some twisted form of hadiths or something like that, that old men should be allowed to marry young girls, and that's not the respect for women that Islam brings. There's a difference between the world version and the earth version. So I'm not going to go too heavy into that because that's not what today is about. But I'd just like to point out that that is where I stand on women being treated with respect. Like, you've got a lot of places where it comes down to the number 5, the links between the feminine side, the links between being able to really sense the... One second. Let me just refresh this quickly. I think there's things there that I'm not seeing on the chat. This is something I've still got to get used to. I'm a bit of a technophobe. Yes, I have been missing some messages. 1 second. No, we're up to date. That's good. But yeah, it's been a pretty awesome month. Like, I've just been doing a fast for Lent, and I'm now that we're on Good Friday, I'm 2 days away from the end. It's a few things that I gave up, like for Lent, I decided to just eat fruit. So I gave up. I don't eat meat or animal products anyway, but I gave up a few other things that I eat, like nuts and vegetables. The only things I've consumed have been fruit or leaves. So basically some lettuce and spinach that I had about 3 of the days, and maybe some ginger that I've had in a lemon and ginger drink. But other than that, there's been no vegetables. There's been nothing but fruit for the entire duration of Lent. I also gave up cannabis, which falls in line perfectly with the end of Lent, because this Easter Sunday is also 420, which is commonly associated with cannabis. Also, interestingly, about 420, if you were to look on the zodiac clock, you get the 4 o'clock position would be Scorpio. And when the clock is at 20 minutes past, it's also pointing to Scorpio. I find it interesting that both of the times mentioned in 420 point to the Scorpio, which gives this vibe that the Scorpio has a link to the hidden world, the occult world. Occult just means hidden, by the way. That's to do with the oculus, which is the eyes. So the occult world is something that you get to see more of when you are opening the third eye, which is something for another discussion. This is more about the feminine, but the senses that you get, the way that the cannabis will affect this, it usually gives people, especially if they're not people that smoke it every day, they give a deep, profound effect on being able to see things. And people used to use this in many different traditions across the years. You've had people even use this in church. Once upon a time, you would have the altar, which is where you'd go to alter your state of vision, and they'd put a blanket over the top, and they'd be burning a small amount of the herb, and people would put their heads under the blanket, take a deep inhale, and it would allow them to have their visions, have their moments. And I do think that with using cannabis in this rite, it is something of an experience. I've come from a place where I was smoking every day and multiple times a day. I've just gone now, I'm on about 43 days of not smoking. And I've been having such amazing experience with dreams and other things. I don't want to go back to smoking every day. I'm going to have some on 420 on Easter Sunday, so that will mark the end of Lent. But I don't think that I'm going to be going back to smoking every day after that. I think I'm going to be using it as appropriate as it should. Even Rastafarians, in the true Rastafarian religion, it was apparently only smoked twice a year at specific times. This is something that I've heard, obviously, that's not something that I have from experience. But yeah, we've got basically the fasting that I've done has led to my senses being increased by a serious level. The last time I did a fast, I was going for something like 28 days, and it was leading up to the solstice, and when I started eating food again, the sensitivity had reached such a level that I'd gotten used to eating these bird's eye chili peppers, and I just got a little bit on my lip from when I was marinating some tofu, and I ended up with serious burning feeling that lasted for a few hours. That's how heightened my senses were. I've gotten to the point now where my senses are severely heightened. So I feel that staying hydrated does that for you. If you have a diet of nothing but fruit for a while, if you have nothing but fruit juice for a couple of weeks, a lot of people that go on extended juice fasts find they get very emotional, and the emotions just come through because the more hydrated you are, the easier it is for the messages to be passed on. And especially makes sense when you look at the word emotion in the first place. You can hear the word ocean, and you hear of the motion in the ocean. Well, the E that gives the motion is the energy from your body. That E happens to be the fifth letter of the alphabet, which links back to the woman. So you've got the emotions that go through you that give the ocean inside of you, the waters inside of you, the information to pass on, the information that is received through the feeling, which is something that I feel is getting in touch with the feminine side. If you're into meditation, they always try and convince you to quieten the voice that usually you can hear from the male brain, which is the prefrontal cortex, I believe. It's the part that gives you your thoughts, it gives you your running narrative. And when you start meditating for the first time, you usually hear this voice will be going off at you, and it will be telling you, oh, I just thought then, or oh, this is stupid, or what if someone walks in on you, or maybe you should go get some food. And the idea is to quieten that voice and allow yourself to breathe, allow the energy to reach a nice calm. Remain still as you can, and then feel with your body. Even those of you that do the Wim Hof breathing technique will hear Wim Hof talking about at one point to feel your heartbeat and to try and imagine the blood running through your veins, because the idea is to get fully calm on your nervous system and be able to feel rather than think. And that's to shift from the left brain to the right brain until you find the nice healthy balance in the middle, because it's the middle path that we're aiming for. Oh, hey Dan, how's it going? It's great to have you with us. Seems like I've got my two favorite moderators on at the moment. This is perfect. Yeah, this is a stream I'm doing all about Venus, because Venus is the best depiction I can point to for a perfect representation of the Divine Mother. So this is what today I think is about. As Freya Day is Freya, who is the divine feminine goddess from the Norse pantheon. There's also Frigg, who would be the Anglo-Saxon equivalent, and Venus, which is the Roman equivalent. So the three of those have 5-letter names, so that fits into the theme. You've also got others like Aphrodite from the Greek pantheon, but it's, and Hathor and others from the Egyptian, but mainly it's focusing on the ones that have the connection to 5. Interestingly enough, when I mention Egypt, it's another 5-letter word, and the thing that's commonly associated with Egypt is a mummy. So you've got mummy, which is a 5-letter word, and there's the bandaged body, which is what the feminine represents. You have, he says it's Venus without the penis. Indeed, indeed. So yes, the idea is to honor the feminine. I like to honor the feminine and remember the feminine as much as I can with the number 5. I even wear a 5-pointed Vajra, which is a weapon I would believe was used by Indra, which is another 5-letter word, who is the king of the Vedas. And the Vedas, or the Devas, yeah, might have got that word backwards. King of the Devas. You've got it's probably a bit complicated to try and go into that right now without coming too far away from the subject. But it's the guardian of the feminine deities. Even deity being a 5-letter word, I think is quite interesting. I've even got, there's a website that I'd managed to find. It was the something ninja, and it was to do with, let's see if I can find it, 5-letter words. With positive meanings. There was something like 3,000 or 1,600 and something, maybe. Let's just see. They had amazing words coming up, like agape, which is a version of unconditional love that you get from the Greek, what would you call it? Greek list of different types of love, in which you've got 5 different types of love. There's Impactful Ninja. It was 1,661 positive 5-letter words with meanings and examples. I'm going to leave a link to this in this show notes once I'm done. You never know these days. Dan, have you seen the ruling that they did a couple of days ago? They had a ruling in, I think it was the Supreme Court of the UK, that are saying that you will not be allowed into women's spaces unless you're a woman, basically. And it's upset a lot of people, but I do think that this is a very big shift that we're feeling in the world right now, as everything's going back towards the feminine, as people are being pushed away from the masculine. I think that people should be able to live as they choose, and I don't think that people are losing any rights whatsoever. I think that people have still got their same rights, because I don't like the idea of people being beaten up in the street for being different. I grew up as a grunger in the 90s. We were always getting beaten up in the street for being different. But ever since the Sophie Lancaster Foundation started making very positive strides, I think that there's been a lot of change, and a lot of things have changed in Britain to the point where people aren't just beaten up for looking different on the street anymore. And I don't think that things are moving back to them days. I really hope that nothing moves back to that position. But I am glad that things are starting to link up with reality again. And they're not just like the government aren't just pushing everything into your face as trying to convince you something that is false is real, which I think is very important. We're now moving back to a place where you've got a lot of respect for women turning back up. A lot more people are looking out for women. A lot of people are looking to protect the women. And one of the problems that we did have is a lot of perverts were posing as trans people, basically, so that they'd gain access to women's spaces. And the problem with the trans community is they're doing their best to, oh, if man says him a ting, him a ting. No, that's from Phone Shop. But the idea was that if you say you're something and you want to identify as that, then you are that thing. And it's like, well, no, because then that just opens the door for people to abuse it. And then it's the women and girls that end up getting abused, because perverts now have access to their bathrooms where they previously didn't. And other places, like it's happened in hospitals, it's happened in, yeah, like you say, Dan, live and let live, but you can't change reality. That's exactly it. I'm a man that stands by truth. I stand by reality, and I like to, as best as I can, stand by women, especially if I feel that they're being treated unfairly. So I think that this has been an amazing jump in the right direction. But yeah, I found this Impactful Ninja that talks about 1,661 words. I'm not going to read them all, but so many of them that have a link to love or to something positive, like able, having the ability or skill to do something, indicating competence and capability. Acute, having sharp or keen perception, indicating a high level of intelligence, quick understanding, being perceptive. This is like a right brain thing, because you're using your sight, you're using your senses to be able to recognize patterns. This is the part of your brain that allows you to see the full picture. Men, the left side of the brain tends to be very direct. We go from point to point to point in straight lines. And sometimes it's seeing the curves and the whole picture that comes in a circular fashion. It's in a moves in circles, so that's the feminine. So men are in straight lines, women are in curves, and that's why the woman's touch always makes for a better body. You can enjoy stick men as much as you like, but it really looks better with the woman's touch. So I find that these things ad hoc being created or done for a particular purpose or situation, that's a very good one. Adopt, to legally take another person's child or another person into one's own family to raise as one's own, symbolizing love, compassion, and formation of the new bond. And that's a very feminine word with 5 letters. Adorn, to create, decorate, or add beauty to something. That's pretty much the woman's touch when you adorn something. Adore, to have a deep love or admiration for someone or something. Aegis, a protective or supportive influence, symbolizing guidance and safeguarding. This is, agape, like I was saying, the selfless and unconditional love from the 5 forms of love in Greek philosophy. Agile, having quick and easy movement, indicating flexibility and adaptability, and that's a very feminine thing as well. If you see women doing yoga, tend to be able to do a lot more with the flexibility of their bodies. Hi, Universe King. Great to have you with us. So, talking today about Venus and anything to do with the divine feminine and other things that are related somewhat to our divine feminine or the feminine energy, which is coming back into the world a lot more now. It's Good Friday, so it feels like the perfect opportunity, as Friday is Freya's day, Freya, goddess of love. You've got interesting links. I always found it quite interesting in the first place that they would name the days of the week after deities, and the fact that they're called deities and it's days of the week as well. It's beautiful things. My senses have been completely off the chart since I've done a fast for Lent, and I was also doing the dry fasting for Ramadan. I did a 55-hour dry fast as well a couple of days ago. And even though that gave me a few problems, when I went to the gym earlier, I found I was getting a lot less reps because the dry fasting really does deplete your muscles. But when you do juice fasting or eating nothing but fruit, which I've done many times, I find that my muscles stay as strong as they were because the muscles store all of the fruit juice as glycogen. It just gives you loads of energy, and the energy is stored exactly where it's needed. So yeah, today was a bit of a difficult one to come back to, but happy to rebuild from the beginning at any given point. So yeah, like Ada, someone that provides assistance or support. This is often in a charitable or helpful manner. These are all just words from, I'm only in the first letter, it's only in A. And there's so many here that all fit in to the idea of the feminine or to the idea of the divine energy of the feminine, which I feel that a lot of us are moving back into now. I felt that I was heavily into the left brain stuff. Like throughout most of my life, I was influenced by things like wrestling, fighting games like Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, and like different uh, things like Jackass, Dirty Sanchez, the whole kind of doing very boyish things. Like, I suppose I know there's a lot of girls that are into these things as well, but that's most of my influence in this world has all been pushed over to the left. And I think that a lot of things influence us to go to the left in this world. Like, it was even for politically for a while, anything that you say that wasn't in line with the left was seen as far right. It was like they removed the centrist views anymore. I've always seen myself as a centrist, but for a long period of time, I had an opinion on anything that went against what the left was saying. It was seen as far right. And it's very interesting that that's now shifting, because if that shifts back to a more central place, then we'll be able to find balance. And one sec, yes, Dan's saying I've got gay friends who say that they don't want to be put in a bracket, i.e. LGBTQ. They said, why I'm in a bracket with trans people. They've started being targeted for being gay. Oh, that's a shame. This is one of the downsides, is that the nonsense has carried on for a long time and a lot of people have gotten a lot more intolerant. And I don't agree with anyone being attacked in the street for anything. Yeah, I think that it would have been nice if the trans community could have come up and said things along the lines of being more protective of women, being not tolerating perverts pretending to be this or that in order to gain access to the spaces, or not tolerating people that have transitioned using their physical advantages in women's sports. People would have been a lot less upset about things, but I do worry that that's now, as the shift is going more to the right, people are going to try and push it too far. But then it's not going to be into the right in the way that I understand it. The way that I understand being into the right is being more in touch with your feelings, being more in touch with your senses. And what they're trying to push is like a left brain version of being right, which is just more of the same, more of that masculine dominance kind of thing. So you've got a lot of things that they associate women with. I'm talking about all of the 5-letter words, and some of you that may be a bit critical of this would be like, well, not all of the 5-letter words are positive. What about things like upset, anger? And I'd say these things are like generally to do with emotion, which is to do with the emotion, which is the E being the 5th letter. This is something that has a feminine vibe to it, anything to do with the emotions and feelings. But then you'd look at things like devil or Satan, and it's like, okay, I get that. But then the devil could be from the Devi, which is the divine feminines in the Hindu pantheon. You've got the uh, Satan is the opposer in Hebrew. So if you were to think with the male brain, where you've got the Mars, men are from Mars, it's very martial. So it's to do with war, it's to do with conflict. So when you have an opposer, well, you see that as the enemy, so you'll demonize it. But really, they're just opposing each other. If you look at it from a third perspective, you realize that neither side is good or bad. You just, if you start with one, then the second one that you place is the opposer. You start with odd, the second one evens it out. Like you have the daytime and then you have the evening. So it's just about balance. And in order to make something both straight and circle at the same time, it's interesting because you've got a lot of things to do with the squared circle, which comes up, which is a big thing in creation. You've got the squared circle is often linked to Saturn. I was talking a lot about this in my last live stream, so I'm going to try not to talk about it too much right now. But you get things that are to do with the balance between straight and curved in order to make a nice harmony between the masculine and the feminine. And that is what I think it takes in order to find balance, in order to come back to our senses, but still keep a critical mind and not go too far into just feeling our way through life. Because I've done that as well. That can often lead to, it can lead to negative things without going too far into it. It can lead to a lot of like Tinkerbell from Peter Pan was only able to sustain one emotion at a time, and going leading too far with each of those emotions could lead to things like jealousy, anger, and I think she'd even tried to kill a few people. But yeah, so what I say about the woman being seen as like the bad one, when they talk about Adam and Eve, it's Eve that ate the apple and caused the fall of Adam, but they don't mention really or point out too much is that Adam ate the apple as well. You look at his throat, there's the evidence. You see Adam's apple right there on his throat. So it's about the balance of the two. Generally, I believe that above all, we are all one. So everything that comes from our higher self, which is the one that we all came from, is basically God, or whatever you have as a name for it in your pantheon, be it nature, be it the Prima Brahma, the Allah, which is Al-Ilah, the God, Hashem, which is the name, like whatever your pantheon says, there is a one creator that everything came from. Even if you're against all of this religious nonsense and like science, like you've got the Big Bang, which everything came from. So it's the same thing. Like whatever your pantheon, it will have the same symbology within it. So you've got the idea that the two would have come from the one. It's 6 of one and half a dozen of the other. It's an equal amount of both. And 6 of one and half a dozen of the other is literally the zodiac wheel. You got 6 signs that are masculine and 6 signs that are feminine. And this is the way that things balance perfectly. You need to not be too far one way. Like if you were to have just males everywhere, that's a world where everything would fight to the death. If you have 2 Siamese fighter fish in the same tank, they will fight each other to the death. You'll see this quite a lot in nature. The idea of the cannibalism, like you had Cain and Abel, who are Adam and Eve's children. The word that you hear with, because Cain killed Abel, you've got then the word cannibal in the words. So Cain, with canine linking to dogs, it's like a dog eat dog world. It turns into a street fight. It's a battle to see who is going to win this conquest. Men are from Mars. It's all about the martial. It's all about the fighting. And women are from Venus. I'm going to quickly skip to the live stream on here just to see if there's any messages that I've not been getting. The women are the ones that balance things out, and that is what gives us... No, I'm up to date. It's good. So that's what gives us our balance. That's what gives us our harmony. And unless you can work in harmony with the females in your life, you'll find that you're at war. It's becomes almost like the two of you are stuck in the left brain, which is the fighting. If you've got Aries and Libra being the 2 opposing sides, so you've got Aries ruled by Mars, which is the martial sign, so it's always, you know, butting heads. Aries are butt heads. That's how they attack, is with the banging their head through the barriers, as the Aries represents the ram, which is the sheep with the horns. You've got the Libra, which represents the scales. It's about balance. Libra is ruled by Venus, and the balance is basically, this is the start of evening if it's in the clock, or this is the start of the autumn if this is in the calendar. And it's about being able to find that balance, that compromise. So Mars is about conquest, Venus is about compromise, and you've got the war and peace, and you need an equal amount of both, because if you're too peaceful, you'll end up allowing things to happen which put people at risk, because there are those out there that will just walk all over you. But then if you're too much, too severe, too much in the warhead all the time, then all you're going to end up is with this cannibalistic world of dog eat dog. It's about having the balance of both. And I feel like we're definitely moving into a place where the shift is going to get us into alignment with what it takes to be a proper human being, like to find our humanity. It's like this puppet show that they have with the politics. You've just got, do you pick the left puppet? Do you pick the right puppet? And they're both part of the same body. So it's the governed mind, the government. They're there to steer you in one direction or the other, because politics is polarizing. It's which magnet do you choose? The one in the red corner, the one in the blue corner? Like, it's all about being able to get these electrons, which is represented by us, to choose one side or the other. There's no in between. And we need to find our way back to the in between, because we're not looking at being charged one way or another. Otherwise, that gives them the opportunity to remain in charge, because they get the power. It's being harnessed out of us as we choose one extreme or the other. What we really need is a nice balance in the middle. And I feel like we're definitely shifting towards that now. in recent events in the world, recent things I felt in my body. Like some of the things I felt last night as I lay in bed at about 2 a.m. and I just had loads of thoughts coming into mind. It wasn't even like I was trying to think my way through things. I just had different thoughts come to be. They were coming to me and appearing, and it was things, some that I'd thought before, some that I'd never thought of before, and it was just connecting dots. And I was able to feel a lot of the things to the point where I had hairs sticking up on the back of my neck. Felt a lot of things to do with what felt like it really resonated as truth. And it was to do with things like music. One sec, the media are to blame for all of this division, 100%. But media, again, with 5 letters, it's to do with the communication. They say about media to not watch is to be uninformed, to watch it is to be misinformed. But it's all part of our evolution. If we are able to recognize it for what it is, we're able to read between the lines and see what's going on. Some of you that have seen my earlier videos will see where I've done I've shown lots and lots of different news reporters all saying exactly the same words at exactly the same time. It's because it's scripted. It's because this is a scripted reality that we live in. It's like I remember people used to tell me when I was watching wrestling when I was younger that it's fake. And it's like my argument was as I was watching in the year 2000 where they had thumbtacks and stuff like that in the ring and barbed wire matches. And I was saying like, well, this guy's really got thumbtacks sticking out of his head. And they're like, yeah, but it's all scripted. It's like, yeah, well, of course it's all scripted, but then so's EastEnders. So's a lot of entertainment. What I didn't realize at the time was so is all the news. Like this is another form of entertainment. It's another thing that's trying to capture your attention and get you to, well, a lot of times give them money, but mainly give them your attention. And I find that nowadays it's very hard to click on a news story without them either wanting money from you or for you to agree to allow them to use your data for marketing research, which I always opt out of. And I found that more often than not recently, when I opt out of those things, it tells me that I've got to pay money or stop reading. So I tend to not bother reading them. But yeah, the media are definitely, they need you more than you need them. They're trying to give you a story that has been given to them that is scripted. Free journalism, you'll see a bit more of that when you go looking at independent sources. But then it's all down to who you can trust and who you can believe. It's a very difficult path to navigate. I find that the best way to do this is with sense. You try and use your senses and figure it out for yourself. Try and beware of those that try and shut down other options for you and show you that there's only one option to believe in. And go for those ones that have respect for all of the options and respect for you, that you'll have enough intelligence to be able to make your way through it and discover the right answer for yourself without forcing you by shutting down all of these other options that don't align with what they want you to think. And that I think is very important to hold on to when you're looking at who's telling you what. I did a year of media studies when I was in school. I was doing that for sixth form, and I gave up after a year because I learned too much that I didn't like. And it was just everything has something that they're trying to paint in this picture. And you'll notice that when you read the newspapers, they're always trying to paint a particular picture. No matter what the story is, you can sometimes see like, oh, this isn't even a story. This is an advert for like cat food or something in disguise. Like not often an advert for cat food, but you know what I mean? There's things that will happen there where it's like, oh, I thought I was reading a journalistic piece. It turns out it's just something that's anti this country or anti this political agenda or whatever. It's just, it's programming basically. But then that is entertainment, isn't it? They call them programs. We watch them on television or television, as they call it. It's all trying to shape your mind one way or another, give you a certain, paint a certain picture of the world. And the media is no different from this, especially social media. One of the best things I did before I got into fasting was fasting from social media. I gave up Facebook and Twitter because I had my Twitter account deleted as I had posted videos of people, police officers allowing people into Capitol Hill on a specific day that I probably can't even say now without having the live stream taken down. But yeah, there's that happened, and I decided that if you're going to silence me like that, I'm not going to use your services. So not going to be posting on them anyway. So I didn't. I haven't posted on Facebook ever since, and this is going back quite a few years now. Oh wait, one sec. The worst thing to happen with the news media is they went 24 hours non-stop propaganda. Yeah, I mean, not all news is like, obviously a broken clock is right twice a day, so I'm not gonna, you can't just judge it by saying, well, everything they say in the news must be false, because it's never going to be that simple. It's always going to be like 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, and it's up to you then to figure out which 6 and which half a dozen. And that's down to being able to train your mind, being able to harmonize your mind, use both sides, use your critical brain, but also the side that sees the bigger picture. So you're able to work together and be able to determine what makes the most sense. It's not just logic that you need. The left side is facts, figures, and logic. The right side is lore, legend, and magic. And sometimes you need that to be in tune with each other to be able to find the true answers. Especially when it comes to scripture, the amount of people that follow a left brain version of the scriptures. Oh no, everything was, this is historical documentation. This is all like, these people were walking around, all these, and it's like, but you're missing something. You're missing the deeper layers. Like, yeah, they may have been people that were walking around, but the books are written in a way in which there's other information encoded into it. And if you're just looking at the left brain version all the time, you miss the rest. And if you miss that, then it's real shame that you've invested so much time into it. Because it's like they say, some people that fast for Ramadan only experience hunger. And I, as a non-Muslim, experience a lot through Ramadan. Just at the end, I feel like I'm so full of faith. It is unbelievable. I've got nothing but faith at the moment. I don't even, these videos, I don't share them. I don't tag them. I just have full faith that everyone that's supposed to see it will see it. I have 100%, absolute no doubt that everything is going to go exactly the way it needs to. Everyone is going to get exactly what they deserve. And I'm perfectly content with this. This is as good a feeling as I can ever get from something. And this isn't something that everyone feels. Some people, it becomes a chore. Some people, they do things like go to church every Sunday because they feel like they have to, otherwise they'll not get into heaven. And it's like, but when have you read the book and had the personal connection with the words? That not everything, you don't need to be a temple to have a connection with God. Just go inside your closet, close the door, and sit there, not in vain repetition, but in silence, in stillness and silence, and you will find the connection to the divine. And just listen. And that's all it takes. You don't need a book. Since when would anyone need a book? Before the books, there was prophets, and they got God come speak to them because they found the way. Jesus even says, I am the way, the truth, and the light. He's the way. The character represents how to be to get the experience of the prophet. 1 sec, sorry, yeah, I've been stuck on 5 viewers for the last 30 minutes. No, that's brilliant. I like that it was 5. That's perfect for fitting into today's theme. Yeah, honestly, I don't care about views. I don't care about likes, shares, or subscribes. I care more about message reaching the right person, which when other people were sharing these messages, I caught them at the right time. I heard something that resonated with me. It inspired me to go out and look for the answers for myself. It's not imperative for me that I get other people to think like I think or anything like that. I just need to put the message out there so that the people that are in the situation that I was in are able to see what they need to see. I'm happier with a smaller audience because it means that less people needed to see what I had to say. I do my best to try and express as much as I can, but yeah, like I'm perfectly happy with things the way they are. Like this is as good as I think things can go. Plus, it sometimes gets a bit too crowded when you try and get through a subject and you've got many people on there that are not really interested in what you have to say. They're just kind of giving you things on here like dance for me, monkey boy, like do this or do that. I've seen it on other people's live streams. Luckily, that hasn't really happened on mine so much, but I've had a couple that have come on a bit like that. They come on, try and get you to do a couple of things for them, and then they leave. Like, I'm not here as that kind of entertainer. I've got things that I like to talk about. I'm trying to make this as a space that people can come to talk about very specific things, because when I try talking to about these things to other people, they're not interested. They're more interested in the left brain of things that I was interested in when me and them would thrive together. Since then, I felt like I'm on a different vibe to these people, and not that I'm judging them in any way. I don't feel that they're any better than me or I'm any better than them. We've just gone different paths in life. And what I'm trying to do is create a place where people can talk about these kind of things without being seen as, I don't know, like an idiot or however other people viewed me. I mean, you should have seen what people were saying to me when I said I didn't want to get a vaccine, of all things. Like, and that's just, I don't even have food if it contains potassium sorbate in it. Like, I'm definitely not going to trust things that are like, I go for a natural healing as best as I can. I don't even trust the tablets that they put me on when I was given anti-anxiety medication and other things. I don't trust the ingredients that were in them. And like, yeah, a lot of the medicines that they use in Western medicine, it comes from plants and it comes from the herbal remedies, but they have additives, and it's the additives that I don't trust. And it's things that get added in that are not part of it that I think is what constitutes as falsehood. And I think that the best thing to do is to stick with truth. Like, what feels true to me is fruit. Fruit is about as good as it gets. Even in the Bible, they talk about the before the flood, God says, eat the seed-bearing fruit. After the flood, God says, eat anything that moves, except for maybe this, or this that might give you problems. But to get back to the times of before the flood, I feel that that's when you need to consume just the seed-bearing fruits. And I've tried and tested this, and it works for me. I don't feel like everyone in the world should do that, because there needs to be balance. Some people are on their way up, some people are on their way down, some people are on their way left, some people are on their way right. It's something that is down to personal choice, and it's down to being able to find your way through life, because everyone needs different experiences in order to complete their journey, and we're all on difficult journeys. I think that's really important for everyone to have their own experience of life. One of the reasons why I love many religions, but I'm not part of any religion, is because I trust the scriptures, but I don't trust the people that try and steer you this way or that way, or lead you into this thing or that thing. And their religions seem to focus too heavily on the rules and not the wisdom. And I think there needs to be a balance of both. The rules is very left brain, martial, head of authority. The wisdom is a very right brain. It's learning from experience. It's a combination of these two that make it work. Like, I could give many examples, but it's just, in the Quran, there would be to do with wedding or divorce. In divorce, they say about the man should allow the woman to live with him for a period after the divorce and not kick her out of her home, basically. And you would get the left brain ideas would be, oh yeah, well, I'm not allowed to kick her out of the home, but I don't have to have the electricity turned on. I don't have to have the water turned on. I don't have to have the Wi-Fi turned on. And it's like, yeah, but it also mentions in there that God is watching you. That's supposed to be giving you the idea of using wisdom along with the law. Still, work out why the laws are put in there. Work out why it would be mentioned for you not to do this thing in the first place, and have respect for the woman, your wife or ex-wife, in the same way as God would have respect for the pair of you. Like, don't be an idiot, basically. Be wise to why the laws are there. Don't just blindly follow laws. And I see people like that, like the haram police will come around and talk about, like, music is haram. Don't listen to any music. And it's like, music is a creation of God. This is not something that it could be used for good and bad. It's magic, basically. There's good and bad in it. There's good and bad in everything. Not all music is going to be bad just because Cardi B does her song like Wet Ass Pussy. Like, you know what I mean? There's so many other songs out there that have enriched people's lives. I personally got away from drinking alcohol thanks to Dear Alcohol, which is a song by Dax that I'll put in the description, and Tom MacDonald Withdrawals, which is another one I'll put in the description. These are two of the main songs that I gripped onto and I latched onto. I listened to them on repeat. It wasn't even Dax's original song. It was like a mega mix of about maybe 15, 20 people from TikTok that did their own verses for the song. But it felt like an Alcoholics Anonymous class where everyone kind of comes on and tells their story. And it felt like I was a part of something there, and I was able to listen to it. And the words were, and I got wasted 'cause I didn't want to deal with myself tonight. My thoughts get drowned and then I feel alright. Keep drinking till I'm someone I don't recognize. I got wasted. And I was just really hooked on that hook because it felt like it was describing me. I was drinking because I didn't like myself. I was drinking because I didn't want to have to deal with those thoughts in my head again that I deal with every evening. And it was just such an eye-opening experience to get everyone's different 5555 coming up, boom. So it's great to have everyone's different takes on their experience that they're going into from their troubles with alcohol. And some people that weren't even having troubles with alcohol, they were just talking about drinking in moderation. And that felt like something that really helped. The Tom MacDonald song was something like, actually, both songs sound very much the same in terms of the music. It was something about wanna wish I was getting high with all my friends. Gonna beat it or I won't an overdose. Really wish that I was drunk with all my friends. And it was just nice having these comforts in the music to be able to remind me of the feelings. Like, it resonated with what I was going through. I was turning my back away from the thing that was destroying me, and I was also losing a lot of friends, a lot of connection that I had to the people that I used to go out and drink with and not care and have all of these great experiences on the alcohol. It's about finding what works for you. I'm not saying that everyone should give up alcohol. I'm not trying to demonize it. I know that there are things that link it to demons, and it's called spirits, and you've got the jinn and stuff like this, but I think that it's down to your own personal choice. Like, it's called poison for a reason. Like, what's your poison? But I'm not against people choosing to drink it, same as I was aware it was poison when I was drinking it. But the things that have helped me to get to a healthier stage in my life have included music to a really deep degree. Like, I feel that everything is connected in this world. There's no one that's ever going to be able to tell me any different. And music is one of the things that comes up, as well as seeing things like 1111, seeing different number formations come up. Like, another one that I get is when I'm listening to music and something gets sung in the lyrics that is relevant to what I'm thinking. So even sometimes the same words come up, or even if I'm listening to a podcast, that happens. The person on the podcast will say words that are exactly the same as a word that I'm looking at, or a word that I was thinking, or a word that someone says to me as I've got like one earphone in, one out when I was at work. There's been all sorts of things. Oh my God, yes, Dan. It's just said about this video by Ren. It's to do with mental health problems. It's called Hi Ren, by the way. It is a stunning piece of work, 100%. Like, I caught that actually when Ren was on something like, I don't know, something like 50,000 followers or something. I thought guy's doing well or whatever, but I didn't realize he was like as big a deal. About 2 months later, I saw that he was #1 in the UK charts, and I was like, wow. I really, really love that song. I've listened to a few of his other songs that are a bit meh, and some of his other songs pretty good. But yeah, that High Ren really talks from that. If you've ever been in that frame of mind where you feel like you're having the battle in your head between good and evil, that is the song to listen to. It kind of gives you that vibe. What was it? It's one of the lines from that song that was really good. Some people know me as Ren. Some people know me as hope. Some people know me as the voice that they hear when they loosen the noose on the rope. And he's got some powerful lines in there. So many little powerful lines. Even in songs that I don't like of his, he's got some powerful lines in there that can hit you at the right time. And that's where I feel that you can get messages from God, messages from the divine in anything. Even in a song that has nothing to do, even in a song that says it's about Satan, you could hear a line in that that resonates with you, and it sets you on a course of bettering yourself. Music is beautiful and it's magical. Like, yeah, it is an unbelievable piece of art. That guy does create amazing art. He can also create things that sound very dark and dirty as well, but I like that because it's a nice balance, and it gets people that are into that side of things, it gets the left brainers to go into it because, yeah, and this is the kind of stuff I like hearing, and then drops bombs of truth, just amazing lines of clarity that get you to see things in a different light. And that is a very great way of being. I think that being able to resonate with music is something that it appeals to us no matter what level we are, whether we're in the higher chakras, whether we're in the lower chakras. The music will give us a resonation that will help us to either express some of our darker side, which helps us pour that out, or it will pull us towards the lighter side and help us discover more of that. The idea is you got to get through the darkness to see the light. That's what we're here for. We're here for the experience of heaven and hell. Eating the apple, it's from the forbidden fruit. It was the forbidden fruit from the tree. This is the tree of life and death. So after eating the fruit, you will surely die. But that means you will die because you are given the mortal experience, which is life and death. So the balance that you get is feeling pleasure and pain. This tree of life, they say, is the this tree that you see painted inside of you if you look at the nervous system. So the nervous system is what teaches you right from wrong, because you get pleasure and you get pain. If something hurts you, you know not to go near it again until you understand it more. There's different ways of learning, but it's mainly done through duality, which is what happens when you take the fruit of knowledge, because this is where we come to gain this knowledge. This is almost like an initiation more than it is disobeying God. But it is going against God, because 9 is divine, which is where the heavenly realms would be, and the 6 is the physical realms. So when the opposing realm. So it is going against, but it was inevitable. I mean, why would you have the fruit in your garden and tell people not to eat it? Eventually, come on, we're children. We're going to eat it. And I think that the idea of the woman, Eve, eating it first was showing that this is balance, because the woman's all about balance. This is Adam and Eve. Adam being the first, Eve being the balancer. And even if Adam says that he won't eat the fruit, the balancing will come in and say, you kind of have to, because that's part of the initiation. To have the story of the prodigal son, where you get to come down here and experience the yeah, just because you mentioned the Ren song, they even have a part, don't they, about the snake in Eden. It's amazing. Yeah, you got, I'll even link that song in this show notes. You've got the snake even is symbolic of the Kundalini. So you've got the Kundalini and the Kundabuffa, the two snakes that you see on the caduceus, which is on every medical symbol everywhere. You've got like ambulances, you've got all sorts that go around with the two snakes around the staff. You got Moses in the Old Testament that had the snake that turned into a staff. So you've got the snake symbolism. We're in Year of the Snake right now as well, so this is quite cool. But you got the snake that represents knowledge, and it's almost like we have to go through this experience, and then we've got to decide which snake we listen to. If you've got like the devil on your shoulder, the angel on your shoulder representation, they see it in Norse mythology as two wolves. You've got a good wolf and a bad wolf. Which wolf wins? It's the one that you feed. And you've got the two snakes, the Kundalini and the Kundabuffa, one that tries to help you rise the energy up the spine, the other one that tries to sap your energy down through the spine. So it's basically that balance, all for one and one for all. So you've got all for one tries to take everything, tries to take everything from other people for themselves, whereas the one for all tries to give itself selflessly to the all. And that's in My Hero Academia, if any of you watch that anime, but it's also in everything. You've even got in wrestling, we've got WrestleMania this weekend. You got the squared circle, which is the wrestling ring, and people within that, they need to sacrifice in the circle. So a lot of wrestlers will go in and sacrifice themselves. They sacrifice their bodies. They take a lot of bumps. There's a lot of them that go in there and they bleed a lot. They're sacrificing their blood, sweat, and tears in that ring. They're sacrificing themselves for others. And then you get other people that will sacrifice others for themselves. That'd be your Vince McMahons of the world. They were the ones that the wrestlers coming out and saying, "No, I've got real bad back problems." I think Randy Orton came out and said he had real bad back problems when he was 35, and he was saying that he needed to have less days of work. Not even that he wanted any special treatment, just to work a few less days so that he's able to maintain his health. And Vince's response was, "Well, Mother Nature gets us all. I need you to work them nights." Someone that sacrifices others for their own gain. It's that balance. You've got the one for all and the all for one. Dan saying I really related to what I've been through myself. I think that's why it kind of left me emotionally drained at the end. Yeah, no, 100%. Like, you've got those that will sacrifice others for themselves. They're like the parasites of this world. Parasite comes from the Greek word para, meaning alongside, and cytos, meaning food. It's the idea that they sit alongside you at the table but don't provide anything, but they'll still be eating from the same meals. And when you get parasites in your body, that's kind of how they work. Now, we've got billions and billions of outside influences in our body. We got like enzymes and different things that come from the food, and our bodies allow these things to live there, a bit like immigrants. But this is immigrants in immigration when it works. These are people that are working for the body, doing the best for the greater good, working selflessly, and they're allowed to stay and thrive and flourish. And then you've got other ones that come in as parasites. All they do is take, they don't like to give. And everything that they generally give is toxic. You'll find that the parasites in the table metaphor, you'd get someone that sits and eats at the table without providing anything, is usually the one that comes out with the most toxic of things. They'll come out with like making fun of people that work hard, talking about like this or that to do with some toxic music that they listen to, or toxic way of talking about women. Is like, don't want to go too harsh into details there, but I'm sure you know of these types of people. I'm sure that some of you have been in those situations where you talk to people that seem to have that view on others, that try and shape your view. You get like, I used to have it. There was when I was eating McDonald's once, I think it was my uncle was giving the attitude of, no, don't clear up your table afterwards. Leave that there. That's their job. And it's like, it's that attitude you get from the toxic people, that they don't provide much when they are there. They're not the ones that are, there's people that eat at the table that haven't provided any food, but they're willing to clear the table afterwards and do the washing up and help out. And that way, a lot of times, if you're a guest, they'll tell you, no, you're a guest. Just you talk to us. That's as much as we'd like. But yeah, Dan saying he's got so much lithium inside him, I'm sure Elon Musk is hunting him down. Yes, he might well be. I don't trust Elon Musk, by the way. There's a lot of people that seem to be like, I don't hate him for the same reason as leftists appear to be hating him at the moment, but I don't trust him either. He's someone that he promotes AI too much. He's the one that wants to put chips in your brain. And I've already got a potato in mine, so no room for chips. Fruit, 5-letter, by the way. Fruit is very much of the Mother Earth. Earth is 5 letters. Heart is an anagram of Earth, also 5 letters. And that's where we need to be. We need to be thinking from the heart, not just from the mind. It's good when you manage to marry the two. The father, the cerebrum, is known as the Abram, the father Ram. Dan says he's got a cabbage in this. Yeah, we could probably go well together. A spud and cabbage. Spud cabbage. So we've got the prefrontal cortex is said to be the Abram, your cerebrum, and Sir Abram. Brilliant. And the heart. So these two will marry together, as the masculine and feminine, so where you can harmonize your thoughts with your feelings. It's that perfect balance. Always cabbage. Yeah. So I feel that these are mainly the things that will help us come back into balance, is to embrace the feminine energy, embrace the senses, embrace the feelings, embrace the emotions, and not just rule everything with the brain. Like a lot of people, they tend to do things the straight line way, the straightforward way. Dating has turned into an AI situation instead of finding hobbies or things that you're interested in and finding other people that meet you when you're doing the things you're passionate about, and then you'll come together with mutual love of a certain thing and manage to develop a spark and a connection with a female or a male in that way. A lot of people like to go on their phones, go onto these apps like Tinder, or like, I don't even know the names of whatever's trending now. People still use Tinder, but whatever they are, there'll be dating apps that will pair you up with someone because it's a quick left brain computer aided device, tells you who you should go out with, and that's like, right. Or if they're not interested in that, they'll skip straight to pornography or something like that, which is try to get the job done quick without even needing to go down the route of connection or heart or anything like that. And you need to be able to find a balance in this. You don't get a lot of wholesome pornography out there. A lot of it is very dark and depraved stuff. A lot of it is trying to keep you in the lower chakras. It's trying to keep you in the left brain. It's trying to keep you ignorant of the rest of the experience that you could be getting. And a lot of these people, they end up very dissatisfied in life. Yeah, they might get their immediate gratifications on what they do. I know this from experience because this is what I used to do. This is just what ends up happening. You end up going through these experiences, you're depleting your minerals out of your body. Because especially for men, when you watch porn and finish watching the porn, you release a lot of materials that are quite hard for your body to replace. So your body's got to make these materials out of the raw materials that are used to make them, and your body ends up feeling quite depleted. So you end up losing energy as well. And this is what happens when there's too much of an imbalance, like to the point where it becomes daily or multiple times a day trying to achieve this satisfaction, and you get into a state where at the end of the day you're feeling very dissatisfied and you're flicking through loads and loads of videos or scrolling down on loads of media, social media, Reddit posts or something, just be going through loads and loads of different stories. It's being dissatisfied and looking for something to give you that wholesome feeling. Whole, WHOLE, 5-letter word. That's something you need the woman for. You need the woman's touch. You could be in a home that, as finally, as a man, when you move out and get a home of your own, you notice that minimal decoration goes into it. You haven't really adorned your home with anything. You can walk into a single friend's house and know that he's single by the way that his room looks. You walk into a room that's got a woman's touch, and you'd know that he has a woman around, if not is in a relationship, without needing to ask. These are just things that happen, as it's the energy that's brought in. Dan saying, who's still watching? Give a shout out, please. I don't know. I think there's just me and you, Dan. I tell a lie. It's come up as 4. We have 4 people, almost 5. But yeah, as I say before, it's a place here for me to waffle on about what I like to talk about. I'm not expecting it to be many views, especially not on a day when many people should have plans with their loved ones. This is a good place to come to talk about things like this, especially if you haven't got plans. But yeah, I wouldn't advertise for this kind of thing. If there is anyone there with questions, I'm happy to answer questions, or we could just talk about a subject. You're more than welcome to join in. Otherwise, I'll continue going on about Venus and about things to do with our divine mother, things to do with Mother Earth, which is Mother Nature, which is the planet that we live on, the body that we're in, as the woman is representative of the body or the house. In Hebrew, you've got the aleph being the first letter and beit being the second letter, and beit is the Hebrew word for house. I think it's in Arabic as well. Beit is the word for house. This is the home. This is the woman's domain, because the woman is the one that manages to create the beauty. Like, even when you look at the male body, it's not just stick men straight lines. You have curves there. You have things going on that give it that woman's touch, to give the body some beauty. Otherwise, you would just have very strange, robotic looking things out there. The AI world definitely feels like a masculine thing, because a lot of the things seem to be, before they had AI now that makes the very beautiful feminine features, everything was very robotic and very logic and very moving point to point, much to do with calculations. In the Jewish Kabbalah, you have the Yod, I think it's called, or Hod, which is the side of the brain that deals with language, maths. It's to deal with transactions, to deal with things that are used in a very like calculating way, a very logical way. And then you've got is it Tippereth, which is to do with beauty on the other side. I might be thinking Tippereth, which is beauty, which is in the center. It might be Chesod on the other side. I really need to brush up on the. Let me have a look at this quickly. It's been a while since I've delved into the Kabbalah, which is the tree of life. For those of you interested in biblical references, I find that the tree of life was what I went into looking at just before I discovered fasting. So yeah, I've managed to get a picture up. The Tippereth is the center. It was Netzach I was thinking of. Yeah, you've got Hod, which is the splendor, and Netzach, which is the victory. It's not the way I initially saw it, but you got the tree of life here. And I initially went to look into the tree of life because I had been into sacred geometry in the past, and I've seen the fruit of life, the seed of life, Metatron's cube, and everything else, but I haven't seen the reasoning behind, or I didn't know where the tree of life came from. So I thought there's a gap in my understanding there. I should learn more about this. I want to know why it is that shape that it is, what's going on there. And I have seen lots of things, like there's a, see if I can get the photo up. There was someone that showed it being one half of the yin yang circle, which I thought was very good depiction. So I'm going to have a look and see if Kabbalah yin yang will get me the result that I'm looking for. There really was an amazing photo, and I don't think I'm going to find it here now. That's a shame. That's something that I'll have to show in a later video. I'll have to do some proper research to find that. Oh, wait. Maybe Yin Yang Tree of Life. It was very good because it kind of blended where Darth would be, which is the 11th Sephiroth, which doesn't really exist. And it would be blasphemy to say that it does, but it's alluded to being there, which is like this dark sphere. There's 10 spheres. Dan's asking, when am I coming up to Scotland? I'm not sure, but it would be nice to come up at some point this year. I'm going to see if we've got the time and the funds to be able to do that. That'd be quite nice. There's yeah, no results here. I'm going to have to look for that at a separate point. That'll be something I'll go into at a separate day. Wow, 22:20. So I've been on for an hour and 20 already. Not going to be on for too much longer. Dan, you've left. Nah, it's all good. There's gonna be like a final thoughts coming up, which I would usually say at this point. If you've got any questions or anything else, this is the time to ask. I'm gonna be doing some more after checking here to see if there's any. Ha ha ha! Who's left? It come up as 0 watches a second ago, Dan. I thought you'd left me. Yeah, this is the time when I usually say about anyone got any questions, you're more than welcome to ask now. Otherwise, I'll start trying to wrap up the ideas. The music, basically, being of the feminine, music's 5 letters. It's magic, which is magnetism. If you look at the mag, it definitely appears when you look at a lot of words to do with magic or I've forgotten the other word now, but yeah, magic comes from the magnet. This is of the mother. This is like Mary Magdalene, who is the Mother Mary in the Bible. You have the links between the magnetism and electricity. The electricity from the left brain, which would be the male brain, that is the balance to the right, which would be magnetism in Japanese. Right is Migi, which is close magnet. It's got the M and G. I appreciate that, Dan. I appreciate that. We're definitely gonna look into it for sure. And yeah, the left and the right. You got the L for the L left, and you got the magnetism. You had the left and right in America recently. There was MAGA, which was the movement from Trump, which was the right wing. That would be fitting into the magnetism. You've got the magnetic side and the electricity. Electricity comes from magnets, and you use electricity to make magnets. So it's all of the creation, all of the things that are brought into being here. They're birthed. Birth comes from the woman. Birth is 5 letters. You have woman is 5 letters. The idea that we are born with our 5 limbs, the 2 legs, 2 arms, and a head. Our hands have the 4 fingers and thumb. We've got the 5s going on in our creation, and there's a lot of things to do with like the 5 elements. You would have 5 elements that are earth, fire, wind, water, and love if you watch Captain Planet, or earth, fire, wind, water, and ether if you look at the Western version. In Japanese, it would be earth, fire, water, wood, and metal. I've seen one that was Chinese that was, I think it was earth, fire, wind, water, and space. That was, yeah, more to do with the 5, however the elements are represented. We see the 4 elements in the zodiac wheel, as it's a balance of 12. So you get like 3 of each element. You get cardinal, muted, lost the words there, cardinal, fixed, and mutable. And they're the 3 different types of element that you get. The sorry, 4 different types of 3 different types of element. God, I'm good at this, aren't I? So yeah, the main point of what I was getting at is that these things are what will show you the connections. So you've got many messages from the divine if you're able to, if you have the eyes to see or the ears to hear, they're always available. Some of the things that I was thinking about last night was to do with the balance that we're in. The separation is an illusion. We all started out as one. And in order for there to be a second, there was a barrier placed between the one and the one, so that one could be conditioned differently to the other. But ultimately, we are still here with that one. And the separation itself is part of the illusion, meaning that where we are, we've always been in heaven. But there is that divide there, which can allow us to feel like we are in hell because we're separated from the divine. But with the separation being an illusion, and we actually are already exactly where we need to be. And until we discover where we are through our own workings, we're going to keep ourselves in the separation. Everything in this world is trying to keep us in the separation, because as soon as we realize, then this world won't need to be anymore. The simulation will be able to stop. So I'm going to be finishing this one off here, but just wanted everyone to know that music isn't the enemy. Music is of the mother. It's especially voice and sound, 5 letters, same as music. Sometimes when you hear music we don't always get to choose when we listen to it. Sometimes you walk into a place like a shopping center and they have music playing. So if you've got music playing and you've kind of forced to listen to it against your will, or there's music that someone else is playing and it just sounds like a load of rubbish, sometimes it's worth listening to see if there's any messages there, because there is messages from the divine in absolutely everything. Other than that, respect the mothers, respect the wives, respect the women, the daughters and sisters. Also respect the men too, but just, yeah, today is a good day for honoring the feminine. Dan saying take care. Take care, Dan. Gonna speak to you soon. Yeah, I will put the links for High Run and the other songs. I'll chuck them in the show notes. There's also another song that I listened to for a long time. This is a good one to end on, actually, because it's all about connectivity. I was into the QAnon movement. Had to watch then to see if this live stream got taken down just for mentioning that. Never used to be allowed to. So yeah, the saying was, where we go one, we go all. Ties in nicely to my belief that we are all one. And when I was listening to a lot of things to do with that, I decided after a while to take a break from it. And I started listening to Japanese music, specifically this one song, which was from Tokyo Ghoul. It's by Toru Kitajima from Ling Toshite Sigure. I'm sure you've heard of him. There's he done a song called Unravel, which is an amazing song. It's like never gonna get the pitch right, but Oshiete, Oshiete, Osano, Shikumi wa. It's got a very strange, eerie melody to it. I might do a lyric breakdown of this video song at some point because the lyrics are incredible. I started listening to it before I even knew what the lyrics were. I was listening to it and kind of just singing along with the pitch because the pitch was so eerie and it's sung in falsetto. And I really felt resonance with the vibration. And I was going through a lot of dark things at the time. And I felt like there was a lot of demons inside of me. And then when I found the lyrics and I started reading along to what the lyrics meant in English, and it was saying, like, please tell me, oh, please tell me what this plot is all about. And it's like, the words were discussing this character who was going through a phase of having something inside of him, a bit like a demon, a bit like a dark side that started taking over and consuming his whole body. And it's the idea that you weren't going to be, no one else was noticing. There was like a, Kimi ga warau nani mo mietsu ni. And it's like, yet you laugh blind to everything because you're seeing me do these things that are really dark and demonic, but you think it's funny because we're both in this world that's kind of celebrates that. They want you to get drunk, they want you to get off your face on drugs, they want you to do these things that will bring you back down and keep you in the separation. So it was like, as I was making these connections and feeling the relevance with this song to myself, I started thinking I need to learn how to sing this song, because I had it going through my head a lot and I didn't know the words because they were in Japanese and I don't speak Japanese. Like, I started learning this song. And one of the things that came up as like a little message from the world, that it kind of made sense for me to be here after the last thing, when I typed in on YouTube Unravelled lyrics, I got a video come up of Donald Trump singing the words to Unravelled, this exact song, with someone that had pieced together a load of different words from different scripts from different rallies that he'd done. And I was just gobsmacked. It's like unbelievable levels of connection that I hadn't previously seen. Since then, yeah, the connection to religion never left. I started getting into Japanese music. My favorite artists are Ado and Eve. So there we go. It's just, can't get away from things sometimes when you've got certain symbolism in your life. It's worth paying attention to these things. And that's my final message for today. Just listen carefully. But yeah, thank you all for watching. Thanks you all for listening. Stay tuned for more.